I would like to invite the mayor to please speak and present a little surprise that he has as well.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys don't have to leave, you can say. Alcimeta, Maria, Jocelyn has done a great job on putting this together. I think it's so important, especially for all in our community, those that will be able to see and reflect upon the stats that were shared. Over 100 individuals in Passaic County. In 2022, it was recorded that over 100,000 individuals lost their lives to overdose in our nation. Over 100,000 individuals. Considering that IMFs or illegally made fentanyl pills are spread around the community and the danger that it causes, the threat to so many lives, especially to young people, this initiative that you have taken on, not just to bring awareness, but to ensure that there is education and perspective to the seriousness of the threats that are out there, especially for families that are not aware, will make a real difference in the sense that lives will be saved. We will be presenting this proclamation here for Opioid Awareness and Overdose Day, but I wanted to share briefly and not go too much into remarks, but the harsh reality of drug use in this country is that the conversations often discuss extremes, those who lose their lives, or those who seem to be able to recreationally utilize drugs or use drugs and say there's nothing wrong, and that's the problem. Is that the truth is not everyone loses their life when they use drugs, and it gives people a false sense of security, this confidence that, well, perhaps I won't lose my life. But when we consider the numbers that are shared, it is true, maybe you won't. Perhaps someone because of you will lose their life. Maybe because you get into a car accident under the influence of a drug. Maybe because a friend or a younger sibling saw you use drugs, they use drugs, and they'll lose their life. This is so very important because it's not just about individuals that have lost their lives, because we are going to recognize them. We're going to have a moment of silence, we're going to have a vigil, but it's about allowing every single voice to be heard. Those who still have their lives, we can tell stories of those lives being torn apart, everything that they lost and had to gain back little by little because of the not just immediate and direct adverse impact that drugs had on their system, their health, and their lives, but because of the devastation that their families encountered because of this use. It is the goal, obviously, of this organization of our city that no one would ever lose their life to overdose. It is important that we invest in much needed resources. There are fentanyl strips now that can be used in order to identify this most dangerous substance. Do we have any? Yeah. Look at that, we're gonna have some on display. There are Narcans. When we consider the time that it takes to respond to an overdose call, or for some, unfortunately, and as I was reading the stats, the time becomes so crucial because oftentimes when individuals overdose, they overdose around family and friends. And because family and friends are not aware, those crucial moments when emergency responders can be contacted in order to come and save a life are lost because individuals don't know what's happening. Perhaps they're in the next room. Perhaps they're in the same room and aren't realizing what's going on. Education becomes so important. And again, I want to highlight your efforts and your leadership, because as individuals will see this video online, as young people become aware, as parents become aware, their response might be quicker. They may be more aware or ask a question that otherwise they wouldn't have asked. And indirectly, without even realizing, you have been a part of saving lives, not just honoring the lives of those who were unfortunately lost, but preventing lives from being lost in the future. And I commend you for that most noble and amazing and impactful initiative that you have started. This is the very first one. And like most initiatives in the city, small steps in the beginning, but I can see this growing so much with our youth and our community. So again, thank you, and if we can just give them a round of applause. This proclamation I will read on behalf of the city of Passaic. Whereas International Overdose Awareness Day is recognized globally on August 31st to raise awareness about the risks of overdosing, remembering without judgment those who have passed and recognizing the deep grief felt by their families and friends. And whereas International Overdose Awareness Day aims to publicly challenge the stigma associated with substance use disorders and overdosing, this day reminds us that drug overdose can be prevented and highlights the tragedy it brings to individuals and communities. And whereas in 2020, there was a significant increase in drug use affecting an estimated 284 million people, or 1 in every 18 individuals aged 15 to 64, which was a 26% rise from 2010. Opiates continue to be the leading cause of drug overdose deaths, making up 69% of such fatalities. The global number of opiate users rose from 26 to 36 million in 2010 to 61.3 million in 2020, with several opiate overdose crises happening in different regions. And whereas addiction affects people from all backgrounds, regardless of race, religion, education, or social status, it is imperative to recognize overdose as a social issue which impacts victims, their families, friends, and communities, and touches individuals from different walks of life. People struggling with substance abuse could be your family, friends, or neighbors. And whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdose are our sons, our daughters, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our loved ones, with compassion and support, and therefore overdose and addiction should be stigma-free. Whereas the City of Passaic's International Overdose Awareness Day, We See You event held this Sunday, September 10, 2023 at Passaic City Hall is to remember and honor all those lost to drug overdose and to raise awareness about opiate addiction and to call on our community, as well as all communities, the state and the country, to support overdose prevention policies and projects and end the stigma and silence surrounding substance abuse and overdose. Now therefore, I, Hector C. Lora, Mayor of the City of Passaic, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of Passaic, New Jersey, do hereby proclaim August 31st as International Overdose Day here in the City of Passaic, and we stand united in our determination to create a world free from the devastating consequences of overdose and extend our heartfelt condolences to those who have suffered loss. I will present this proclamation to the Opioid Free Coalition team. Thank you very much. The running theme in the proclamation and what was shared is being stigma-free. And it becomes so very important, and I want to put this on the record, because where there is judgment, you're not going to hear the voices of those that need to speak up about what they're being challenged with or what they're facing. When we can embrace a community and say, look, I'm not interested in the why. I am very much interested in you and making sure that you are safe. Making sure that we can prevent you or anyone else from losing your life. You know, for many who get addicted to opiates, it wasn't their intention initially. I don't think anyone intends to become addicted to anything. So this is why this initiative, this partnership, this collaborative effort of different organizations, young people of today and the young people of yesterday, I include myself in that, everyone else is the young people of today. We come together, but it is an initiative, a labor of genuine love and compassion and caring and acceptance to say that if you know someone who is dealing with addiction, reach out on their behalf. If you are dealing with addiction, reach out, especially here in the City of Passaic. We have learned, and studies have shown, peer-to-peer interaction and initiatives are most effective. So to our young people, you can be the greatest advocates for your cohorts, for your friends. You can be their champions and their heroes. You can stand up for them and convince them to come and receive help. With that stated, the goal today again is to honor and recognize the lives of those that are lost. So I'm going to ask Ms. Liz Burma, who directed me from my office, to share how we will honor them. So we'll observe a minute of silence as we reflect on the lives of the hundreds of individuals that have died here in the many counties around us, and the tens of thousands that have died over just the last year in our nation, and the millions that are impacted by opiate addictions and drug abuse throughout the world. Thank you. I also want to share that today we had quite a strong rainstorm, and I know that there were some that weren't aware whether the event would continue, so we'll do a Facebook Live out just to let some of the people that would have otherwise come know that they can come to the different stations. But I want to take this opportunity once again to thank all of the partners that have joined to provide resources, information, and important tools in helping families out. And again, I want to commend Opiate Free on your leadership. You led this initiative. You guys, it came from you, and we are happy to support you and be here for you with anything or for anything that you need. Thank you very much.